As soccer takes center stage this summer, Comcast helps bring the experience home to America. As the exclusive Spanish-language home of the tournament in the U.S., Telemundo is set to present its most expansive coverage ever. 700 hours of programming, live on-site presence at all 104 matches. And with multi-view and real-time 4K, Xfinity will deliver the most innovative and immersive sports viewing experience for fans watching on Telemundo, Peacock, Fox, and FS1. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
All right, it is hard to believe that we are already at the quarterfinals of the World Cup. There has been no shortage of storylines with the upsets, the nail-biters, and just sheer dominance. It has been star-studded as well. Messi, Mbappe, Haaland, Kane all make it to the quarterfinals. There are basically unlimited options here for you to choose from, Dax. So dealer's choice, which storyline are you most excited for the quarterfinals?
Well, you're right. It is dealer's choice. I think every game in the quarterfinal is a fascinating matchup. I've got my eye on England-Norway.
Okay.
And we had a little bit earlier on in the in First Things First, where I talked a little bit about England maybe being on upset alert. Just a small upset alert. I still have England making it to the final, so calm down, English fans. But I made the argument that they had not faced a striker like Erling Haaland yet. And so
has anybody?
Exactly. So I got a couple chirps on social media essentially reminding me that Erling Haaland faces these teammates with these guys at Manchester City, which is pretty clear. The point of the matter is that this English national team in the World Cup has not faced a striker of the caliber of Erling Haaland yet. Let's go through them. Petar Musa, Croatian striker, plays in MLS with FC Dallas. I get to cover him on a weekly basis. Fantastic player, technically proficient. Not even close to the type of goal-scoring machine that is an Erling Haaland. Jordan Ayew, he plays in League One in England now for Leicester City. They just got relegated. Another tidy player, not Erling Haaland. Thomas Rodriguez for Panama. He plays for Saprissa. Good player, not Erling Haaland. Yohan Wissa, Raul Jimenez, both Premier League players, both absolute quality in and of itself. None of those strikers have the possibilities that Erling Haaland has in terms of scoring goals. He is a machine. He is a monster. He has proven it throughout this tournament. And he gets the joy of potentially coming up against three of his Manchester City teammates.
That's fun.
In John Stones, Mark Gahey, and Nico O'Reilly. And I think it's going to be a fascinating matchup because, yes, while the arguments thrown at me on social media were that the England defense sees Erling Haaland every week, in training. His teammates see him in training. They do not have to mark him when the stakes are high in a World Cup. And when he has been at his very best, all he has done since he started playing international soccer for Norway is score goals at a ridiculous clip. He is in the best form of his life right now. He's playing with a freedom and a joy. He's got his country on his back. And I absolutely think that while the English defenders will know his tendencies, no question about it, it's a two-way street. He will also know the strengths and weaknesses of that backline, of those defenders, where John Stones plays amongst that backline. Does he play center back with Konsa moving to right back? Thomas Tuchel has a little bit of a right back crisis right now with injuries and the fact that he didn't call up Trent Alexander-Arnold and a couple of other players who are fully deserving, in my opinion, of going. I think that whoever wins that battle between Erling Haaland and that backline of England, that is going to determine the outcome of this game because Norway's conceded 9 goals in this tournament. That is the most of any of the final 8 teams left. 4 of those obviously coming when they were rotating in the group stage finale against France with all of their subs. So those numbers are skewed just a little bit. But that is essentially to show you there will be goals in this game. I have zero doubts that England is going to score goals in this game with the form that Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham are in. Can that English backline contain the best, most dangerous striker in this tournament? Even if they know him well, he's going to try to punish them in ways that they haven't seen in this tournament.
You just said it at the very end. What I was going to ask is, what about Mbappe? What about Kane? Like, is there anyone who can say they've played a striker like Erling Haaland? But you just said he is the best. You think is he the best striker?
Danny, why are you doing this to me?
Well, I asked the tough questions, Dax.
He is significantly more dangerous when the ball is in the 18-yard box than I think any of those other strikers. I think Harry Kane is a more well-rounded striker. I think that Harry Kane does more within the run of play to help his team build out of the back to maybe create chances for teammates. And I think Kylian Mbappe, his versatility amongst the back line to be able to go to the left, go to the right, take players on 1v1, that makes him dangerous. In the box, between the posts, predatory striker, Erling Haaland is the best.
All right, I'm going to give you my storyline now.
Please.
I like when styles make fights. It's just like,
yeah, I get it.
In boxing and anything, right? Sure. Offensive team against a defensive team, whatever it is. And that's what we have in Belgium, Spain. And part of this is because Spain was my pick.
Yep.
And part of it was because Belgium just beat Team USA, so we got to see them up close and personal. So it's like, if Belgium gets blown out by Spain, maybe I feel 5% worse about it.
Correct.
But then if Belgium beats Spain, it's like, oh, maybe I feel a little bit better about how Team USA lost to Belgium. So like, there is like the USA component to it and my pick component, but also just if we just throw up great offense against great defense.
Yeah.
Belgium has been a top 5 offense in the World Cup. Spain has been clearly
easily the best.
Clearly the best defense in the World Cup. Literally have not allowed a goal. That's pretty good. And then the expected goal numbers are also ridiculous when you look at Spain.
Yeah.
And one of these streaks is going to end.
Yeah.
Because someone has to win. It's single elimination tournament football. So Spain hasn't lost in 35 matches, which is the longest in the history of their team. Belgium has 18 straight without a loss. So these are hot teams that haven't lost in great form, one being carried by offense, one being carried by defense. I'm obviously picking Spain, but I do think just the contrasting styles makes this a fascinating game.
No, I agree. And I think where you're going to run into issues if you're Belgium is Amadou Onana was one of the best players on the field in the 20 minutes that he played against the U.S. men's national team. He's a rangy, athletic, box-to-box midfielder. He ended up tearing his ACL in that game against the U.S. men's national team. That is a huge, huge loss for Belgium, especially when you're coming up against a midfield in Spain that has been one of the best in the tournament. Even though their attack hasn't really been firing on all cylinders, a big part of their back line being so difficult to break down is that you have Rodri, who is, fully recovered from the injury he suffered a year or two ago, the ACL at Manchester City. He is back to his best. Pedri, one of the best midfielders in the world, protecting that back line. They suffocate you through possession. And so I'll be curious to see how Belgium deals with the loss of Onana and all the cracks that he can cover in midfield. I think it's a really fascinating matchup.
I probably shouldn't have picked it because I just subjected all of us to watching more highlights of Belgium beating Team USA.
Not fun. Hey, at least you're not Kevin Wildes. At least you didn't tweet out that we, as in USA, can beat Spain.
Yeah,
before the Belgium game.
Yeah, that tweet did not age very well.
Not a good look.
Just unplug from social media. Don't worry about the comments to you about Erling Haaland and the whole thing.
Okay. You have to unplug.
No, you need to. So France taking on Morocco tomorrow, 4 Eastern. On Fox. That will launch us into the quarterfinals. France, the heavy favorites. This matchup also the biggest favorite of all of the matches within the quarterfinals. Dax, you mentioned upset alert earlier for England.
Yeah.
Is France the biggest quarterfinal favorite on upset alert?
I think that every team in this quarterfinal is on a small upset alert.
Sure, single elimination.
I think single elimination, we've seen it plenty of times. I have all 4 of the favorites advancing, but it would not surprise me in the least bit if 1 or 2 of these underdogs actually went on to spring an upset. Morocco, not least of which, who I think is a fantastic team. They're well coached. They're really well balanced. They've got great players on both sides of the ball. I think that they have, as far as 2 fullbacks go, 2 of the best fullbacks in this tournament right now with Hakimi and Mazraoui. And I would lean more towards picking an upset alert for Morocco if the status of, in my opinion, their best attacking player was a little bit more clear. Their striker, Ismail Saibari, he's been one of the breakout stars of this World Cup. He's only scored 3 goals, but I do believe he has provided them so much danger in the box. He's got such great hold-up play. The way he interprets space, he creates chances for teammates. If he was fit and healthy, and if we knew he was going to be 100% going into this game, I'd feel a lot better about Morocco's chances. His replacement, Rahimi, has filled in admirably. He's got 2 goals and an assist in this tournament, but I don't think he's as clinical as Saibari is, which is kind of why I just lean towards France. You're going to have to score multiple goals if you want to beat them, and I just don't know if Morocco has that firepower without Saibari if he does not play.
So it's kind of like when you talk about a story in American football, it's like, well, there could be injuries. And it's like, well, sure, it's single elimination. Yeah. Anybody can lose, right? So with the acknowledgement that anybody can lose, and we saw Cape Verde have Argentina on the ropes, and Spain and all that, right? So anybody can win. We understand that. I do think a particularly interesting thing about France so far, we know that they're great.
Yep.
We know that their front line is great. We know that they're the favorites. But have they been tested? Like, has this team in this World Cup, because you were just talking about it earlier with England and Norway, it's like, well, what about in this World Cup?
Yeah.
In this World Cup, has France truly been tested when they played Norway, as you mentioned, it was all of the backups.
Yep.
They got Senegal in that last round, and when you just look at the FIFA ranks, it's pretty lopsided. There were some questions about their midfield coming into this.
Sure.
Morocco is a crazy fast team. You don't have to be an expert to watch that. You can just see it. They can run past basically anybody. I'm not sure that they have seen a team anywhere near Morocco, who obviously this is the rematch of the semifinals from the last World Cup.
2022.
Morocco is ranked 7th in the FIFA rankings, so it's by far the highest team, if you trust the FIFA rankings, that France has played. And then if you just look through Morocco's just World Cup history, they tied Brazil in the group stage. That's the 6th-ranked team. They beat the Netherlands. That's the 8th-ranked team. In the 2022 World Cup, they tied Croatia. They beat Belgium. They beat Spain. They beat Portugal.
Totally.
Morocco absolutely believes, even though they lost to Spain in the semis last year, Morocco absolutely believes that they can beat teams the caliber of France.
As they should. There is absolutely no reason why they shouldn't believe that they can win this game. I agree with you. They have the experience. They have the know-how. They have game changers. They have difference makers. I think France, the biggest test France had was actually in their first game against Senegal, where they really didn't play well in the first half. If you remember all the way back then, feels like ages ago now, they were really poor. And then they turned it on in the second half. Paraguay really tested them in different ways, sitting deep, really frustrating them, playing physical with them. So, look, I love what Kylian Mbappe said after that. He said, You want to get into a street fight with us? We can do that. We don't have to wear our tuxedos. We will absolutely be able to do that. I think this will be a more back-and-forth game that flows with possession. I think that benefits France and those 3 dangerous attacking players.
All right, well, tomorrow, 4 Eastern on Fox, the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals kicks off with France and Morocco. There are 8 teams left. So, Dax, it's time to update the big board. Jeffrey, if you could bring the board out here, please. This is big because the quarterfinals are happening.
Sure are.
And if we just take a quick moment
Thank you,
to look
Jeffrey.
at your board, there are 10 spots there, and a lot of teams are not even in the quarterfinals.
This aged well, huh?
We got some work to do here, and I'm going to help you out.
You got to help me out. Okay, so the first teams that have to go, teams that lost, see you later.
Yeah.
You're out.
I got to take the U.S. off. That's sad.
Mexico, really admirable effort. I loved that game at Azteca. You're out. Okay. Now, I'm going to need you to do me a favor and hold on to these teams that are left.
Sure.
And we'll throw them on the table.
I got you.
So we can make sure we're going to reset the board. This is called the quarterfinal reset. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Very efficient. Let's do this. 2 teams have not been on my board yet. Welcome to the board. Switzerland, you're coming in at number 8. I wasn't enamored with Switzerland. If you remember back, they drew with Qatar 1-1, kind of an upset for Qatar, not great. Switzerland, all they do is just make it to this stage. I believe it's 3 or 4 straight World Cups. They've made it to this stage. It's typically where it ends. If they had a fit and healthy Johan Manzambi, who has been one of their best players, I would probably give them a little bit bigger chance to beat an Argentina team who I quite frankly don't think has played all that well the last 2 games.
They haven't.
I do think that this is where it comes to an end for Switzerland. I thought Colombia was the better team. They won in penalties. Hats off to them. Norway, coming in at number 7. While I do absolutely love me some Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard, I think that Norway against England, I think it's going to be a too big of a task for them to overcome England, especially with the confidence that England is playing with right now after that massive win that they had down at Azteca, a historic win. I think that going through that type of adversity, very, very good for England, does not bode well for Norway. Belgium coming in at number 6.
Our enemies.
They are our enemies, but they deserve a ton of respect. I thought that they outplayed us in every facet of the game. They hadn't played well in the World Cup. They just had their best performance ever. Now, of course, in this World Cup. Now they come up against Spain. Can they score on Spain? That is the question mark. Coming in at number 5, we have Morocco. Come on over here, Morocco. I mentioned a lot of things I like about Morocco already. I think if they had a fit Saibari, they'd have a better chance to win. They're well-balanced. I do really like that team. I think that their tournament comes to an end against France.
Ooh, all right, I'm surprised.
England coming in at number 4. I absolutely love what Jude Bellingham is providing this team right now. It was a heroic performance that he had down at Azteca. Not just the 2 goals, he also led the team in duels won and most dribbles. He's an unconventional type of attacking player.
He also saved a goal.
He did save a goal. There you go. That should count for another one.
That's the most forgotten play of the tournament.
I love that performance from England, but they came in at number 4. Argentina coming in at number 3, not enamored with how they're playing right now, but they are getting the job done. In my notes right here, I say, listen, haven't played that well, but messy. Pretty much all you have to say about Argentina at this point in time. Spain, number 2, 5 consecutive clean sheets, best back line in the tournament, dominant midfield. Lamine Yamal hasn't even played that well. Lamine Yamal hasn't hit his top form yet. I think that this is where you're going to see why people think he's got the potential to take the mantle of best player in the world from Lionel Messi at this point. He has the potential to win multiple Ballon d'Ors. It is his time right now. Coming in at number 1, they've been number 1 the entire time. France, you're on top of my power rankings. The best front attacking 3 in the world. 3 of the best 4 or 5 players in the world. That's the power rankings.
Listen, it's exciting that we're down to 8 here in the quarterfinals. We're going to make you stand. I guess my question is, Erling Haaland has been the breakout star of this tournament.
Yeah.
Nieland, their goalkeeper, right? He was a backup for Sevilla, and he is just standing on his head and been absolutely amazing. How far can a great striker and a great keeper take a team? Because the gambling market would say they can't win. They're still 17, 18 to 1.
Yeah.
But I watch it and I'm like, I don't know. He basically just single-handedly beat Brazil. I feel like he should be higher.
I absolutely don't disagree with the premise. But the problem is when your star striker has an off night, well, then who picks up the slack? You
can't have an off night.
That kind of is kind of where I fall. And so, look, you fall into the camp of the English backline knowing his tendencies well, Erling Haaland knowing how to hurt some of these English defenders that he plays with week in and week out. I think that if you are Thomas Tuchel and you focus your game plan solely on stopping Erling Haaland, doubling him up in the box, I don't necessarily see Norway having a ton of other dangerous goal-scoring options to be able to pick up the slack. Their backline has conceded the most goals of the 8 teams left. I think Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham absolutely score a couple of goals. If Erling Haaland has a great day like he has in every game, sure, of course they have a chance to win. I just don't see it happening.
All right, I had the reaction when you put England in front of Morocco. England in Azteca was incredible against Mexico, but I feel like so much of this is form, and if Morocco was playing England, I know I'd be picking Morocco. I'm a little surprised that those two aren't flipped.
It's strictly down to, I think, the form of the strikers and what we said about Saibari. He has been one of my favorite players to watch in this World Cup, just the way that he has kind of broken out. I mean, it's why Bayern Munich has splashed the cash to go and sign him. When one of the biggest clubs in the world wants to sign you, then you are a fantastic player. The question marks around his fitness have me concerned that Morocco is going to be able to score enough goals to keep up with France. But if Morocco was playing England, I would have that as about as close to a 50-50 tie as you can have. But England has Harry Kane, and I love me some Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is a fantastic player. And I think that he will get the job done for England. All
right, last one. You know, I like to talk about what type of body of water is between these. We rank up 1 through 8. Is it a river? Is it an ocean? Maybe a Great Lake? Is the gap between France and Spain bigger or smaller than the gap between Spain and everybody else? Like, I guess my question is is it a 2-team tournament? Or is it a 1-team tournament and then everybody else falls in?
I think that the gap between France and Spain is like more like a creek.
Okay.
If you will.
A creek, I like it.
And I think the gap between France, Spain, and then everybody else, especially with the way that Argentina is playing right now, is more like the Mississippi. So it's definitely a little bit bigger. But Argentina has Messi. And Messi, he constantly wows you with everything that he does. Collision
course for France and Spain coming up in the semis. All right, Dax, great big board. We'll see you a little bit later when we're talking the Golden Boot race, which has been absolutely historic. Al Harrington will join me. Reportedly, there are 3 favorites for LeBron's services. Which one gives him the best shot at a title? We discuss coming up. And we are under 24 hours away from the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals. France takes on Morocco in Boston tomorrow, 4 Eastern. on Fox.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.
Talk some hoops. Shams is reporting the 3 destinations most likely for LeBron are narrowed down to the 76ers, Cavaliers, and Heat. All great fits, but 76ers president Bob Myers made his pitch, because apparently presidents of teams go on agents' podcasts nowadays, on why Philly should be LeBron, and it gives him the best shot at winning a title. Take a listen.
If he was here, I'd say, I honestly believe this is your best chance to win. You have to decide all the other things that are equally important. What I would just say is, if it's about winning, and that, let's talk about this team, because you can win here in Philadelphia.
It's a wild podcast. I love it because of the content, but it still is a LeBron James' agent hosts a podcast with a whiteboard of where he could go, and then he brings on executives from those teams. I love the transparency. 16-year NBA veteran Al Harrington joins me now. Al, let's take him at face value. Do you like LeBron's chances at a title if he went to the Sixers?
Like you said, what a time to be alive, man, because that platform is, like, amazing.
It's great.
But when I think about that team, and you put all those guys, that starting 5, with Maxey, VJ Eckham, LeBron, Embiid, that's dangerous and it's scary. My only concern is it too much firepower, right?
What?
You bring in Jaylen Brown over, who obviously has been wanting his own team, right? And you put him in a situation where it's definitely not his own team. I would consider Maxey as the guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, Embiid is an all-world center, right? And then you got to figure out, where do you fit in there? Then you add LeBron James. I just would need to see it, and I think that, for people to think that in one season they'll be able to put it together and win the ultimate goal, I think is a little unrealistic. We also have to always consider health, right, for Embiid and even for LeBron at 42 years old, right? I don't think we can expect him to play, 65 games, a season, and you definitely can't expect that from Embiid. So I think the entire season, those guys are going to be in and out the lineup. We really have to figure out, what is Jaylen Brown's motives? What is he trying? What is he going into next season trying to prove? Is he trying to go into the next year saying, I'm going to be better, I'm going to have my stats better than they were last year when I was with the Celtics? Or are we just going to be a better team than the Celtics? There's a lot of things that are going to play a part into that team. So I like that team, especially on paper. But, what you're going to get from it, I'm just not sure.
So I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I'll just kind of piggyback because some of them align with you. Like Joel Embiid, last 3 years, 38 games played, 19 games played, 39 games played. So you cannot count on Joel Embiid to be ready for a long playoff run. If he is, it's amazing, and the team is incredible, but you can't count on it. And if he's not there, you have some serious front court issues, because we know LeBron is not a front court defensive presence at this point in his career. I struggle to come up with an example, Al. Maybe you have one, of a team with too much firepower. What are you thinking? Is it just like there's one ball and everyone needs it? But basketball players tend to figure that out. So I guess explain that concept a little bit, because I wouldn't think too much firepower. I would think that would be a positive, not a negative.
That's my problem. I mean, obviously I know Maxey kind of looks up to LeBron, so I think that probably would play into a favor where he would say, okay, I could scale back a little bit for LeBron. But at the end of the day, he's an explosive scorer. He needs the ball in his hands, right? He's a one-man fast break a lot of times. VJ Edgecombe, at times he's shown brilliance as well, as a first-year player. So you just expect his second year, he's going to get better. You got to remember, he's also playing for his next contract already, right? He's thinking about, what is that going to look like? So he has to play at a high level. Then you got Jaylen. Like I said, he feels disrespected by the entire league. So with that disrespect, how do you fight disrespect? From production, right? So for him, he's going to be come out with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to want to show how great he is. And then with Embiid, once again, like I said, he's such a dominant force. And what impresses me about Embiid is the fact that he can miss 2-3 weeks at a time and then come back and score 40 that next game.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, like even with him, like if he did go there, my strategy would be is like for Embiid to only play about 40 games this year and be ready for the playoffs. So in April, that's when we ramp him up. We'll play him more consistently and then try to get him in, playoff shape so that we can go, for the championship. And then with LeBron, right? Obviously, he's been the ultimate teammate, for the most part of his career. But if you call a spade, honestly, LeBron usually takes away from great players' games, right? Because he does so much, right? So that's another thing. Guys are going to have to literally decide that we're going to have to change our game to play with a guy like LeBron.
Yeah, I wrote down for this, too much new. Jaylen Brown and LeBron, and Edgecombe is just this, rocket ship of a player. I wondered if there was too many new things at once. But if I was LeBron, I wouldn't feel confident that Joel Embiid would be ready for a playoff run. And without him, with, Edgecombe's 6'4", Maxey a perimeter guy, I just wouldn't think there's enough in the front court there for that to be the ultimate choice if it was just basketball. Let's go to Cleveland, Al, where yesterday Donovan Mitchell signed a 4-year, $273 million max contract extension with the Cavs. The Cavs are also on LeBron's radar for obvious storybook reasons. Shams reporting that Donovan Mitchell has said that he would embrace LeBron in Cleveland. James Harden has shared a similar sentiment. And remember, he opted out of his contract, and people think he's going to re-sign in Cleveland to bring them under the apron. So we're going to be asking the same questions for all of these teams. Do you like LeBron's chances at a title with the Cavs? And before you answer, I'd like to just throw up the Eastern Conference odds, because we could have applied this to the Sixers conversation. We can apply it to the Heat conversation, but I do think it is good context here. It's really bunched up. When Bob Myers says, you got the best chance to win, and he tried to make the point to Kellerman and Rich Paul, the East is easier to go through. I do think the East is easier to go through because you don't have Oklahoma City and San Antonio. You don't have the teams at the top. But one of the teams on that list is going to be in the play-in. The East is very deep, and it is very bunched up. So I think LeBron would look at that and say, I think I could be the difference maker, and I could put them over the top. But I don't think that there is anywhere near a clear-cut Eastern Conference team. But what do you think about the idea of LeBron back in Cleveland?
Well, to your point, I think the only team that he could go to in the Eastern Conference that if he joined that team and it would be the clear-cut favorite to win the championship is the Knicks.
Because they just did it?
Because they just did it, and just when you just think about the personnel, everybody that's they played together for a while. I think you can insert a guy like LeBron and it doesn't mess up too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially because of the confidence that they're actually playing with as a team, and especially defensively. But when you talk about the Cavs, I think that's obviously the best story, right? I just think that for him, what he's meant to the city of Cleveland and the fact that he won a championship there, this is a team that for the last 2 years in the Eastern Conference, they were considered favorites to get to the finals and not be able to get over that hump. And for him to be able to come there and be the reason for that, that's who LeBron is, right? Even when you look at this process, I love him to death, but he loves attention, right? But if you add him to this team, you got two unbelievable great guards that can make plays. So that means that LeBron can take a lot of the game off, right? He can really now sit in the corners, wait for open shots, right? Defensively, you have two of the greatest, not great, excuse me, but you have two serviceable big men down low that can defend. Both of them are lob threats. Evan Mobley, even in sometimes he showed this year where he's a three-point threat as well, right?
Yep.
So that's when you let LeBron start to work and you spread the court out, and now you got shooters. When you look at just the Cavs as a whole, I think that they're probably the most completely built to add him and his skill set at this point in his career to actually, do some damage or cause concern in the Eastern Conference. Even when you think about their bench shooting, Max Strus, Jalen Tyson, those are all guys that are all shooting 38% from three, and that would just make them more dangerous.
I think this is the one of the three that has the best chance to win. For a ton of the reasons that you just said. And LeBron, they struggled last year. They didn't ever play a lot of games with Mitchell, Harden, Allen, and Mobley together because of when the trade happened and because of injuries and all that. They didn't have a lot of games together. So I think that over the course of next year, the Cavs will look like a better unit, just bringing everybody back with time played. Then you add in LeBron to it. I honestly wonder if James Harden would be a sixth man on that team, just because Harden is so ball dominant and he's so great offensively. I'm not saying they would never play together, and they probably would be in a closing lineup together, but if it was like, it would almost like, let's put a little bit more defense out there and let LeBron kind of run some of the show. I don't think he wants to just sit in the corner and catch threes, but if he runs the show and he can kind of play off of those other guys, I do think that they've got a lot of continuity there that would actually make it a fairly seamless transition compared to these other teams.
We just use the Knicks as an example, right? It took them, they lost in the playoffs the last, 3 years, with having, most of that core together, but especially with having Karl Anthony Towns. And then the third year together, they were able to produce a championship. So I think the Cavs can potentially be in that same spot, especially because they kept mostly the core together, or they keep the majority of the core together. And then you add a LeBron into there, they actually can potentially get over the hump. So, that's how I would look at that. It's like, they kind of took their bumps and bruises to get there. They got to the conference finals for the first time in, 8 years or 9 years, whatever it's been. So obviously, I think there will be some level of confidence there. I think obviously the wild card is always James Harden. Right. Obviously he gets to the playoffs, he's usually not as confident as he is in his offensive side of the ball. And then defensively, he's just non-existent. But I think having a veteran like LeBron in the locker room and holding guys accountable and stuff like that, maybe we might even see James Harden play a little bit of defense.
Let's not get crazy. to Miami, we've got another seemingly obvious storybook landing spot for LeBron. So there's the history of LeBron in South Beach, obviously, and you might have heard they added a guy by the name of Giannis, and Giannis is reportedly also not even just open to it. He's trying to recruit. Shams reporting there are multiple other draws to Miami, such as Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley, Bam. They played on Team USA together, and yes, as we mentioned, Giannis. So LeBron and Bam, the whole thing, it makes sense. My issue with LeBron in Miami, Al, would be twofold. Do they have enough shooting? Like, LeBron would be expected to be the spacing guy, and he's gotten much better as a three-point shooter, but you generally speaking want to surround him with shooting, and Bam and Giannis they're not that. Andrew Wiggins had an unbelievable year shooting the three, but that's it. It's not like it's a team with a bunch of shooters like Cleveland. So lack of shooting and spacing would be one. And if Jaylen Brown and LeBron in Philly is that too much new too soon, like for LeBron's timeline at 42 years old? Giannis and LeBron, that is just a completely new basketball team that it feels almost impossible that they could gel in year one and win a title, given how new it is.
I just think that team is too crowded on the floor. Right? When you think about your three best players being all forwards, the guard play has dropped off tremendously. Not having Hero and not having Powell anymore, it makes that team a challenge, especially shooting the ball. I think from a creativity standpoint, because you need guards to kind of create for the team at times, right? And I like Davion Mitchell a lot. He actually shot the ball better than when I looked at the stats. I think he's maybe a 37 to 38% shooter. Wiggins shot it, he shot the cover off the ball. He was over 40% this year, right? But also, he's a forward as well, right? You can't expect him to go out there and create offense. So that would be my biggest concern is they don't have anybody over there that can really create offense from the guard perspective. LeBron, once again, like I mentioned earlier, we can only expect him to play 50, 55, 60 games, you know what I'm saying, at a high level. You look at last year with the Lakers, there were some times where we all thought that probably LeBron should hang him up, right? But then when the playoffs came, he's a totally different monster. So, I like Miami, that sounds good, it's a good story, right? I've also heard that, him and Pat Riley haven't, made up their differences and stuff like that. So I would say out of our list, I would say Miami's probably the third best team, but I just want to go on a limb and just say after, watching LeBron for the last, 2.5 decades, I always feel like he is always trying to throw people off. And I think with the way they're doing these interviews and all this stuff, they're trying to throw us off. So I'm still saying, and I'm sticking to it, the Spurs is the best opportunity for him to win a championship right now since he cannot go to the Knicks. It's the Knicks and it's the Spurs. Obviously, it was just the two teams in the finals. For him, it would check all the boxes, right? It gives him all the attention that he needs, right? He's a businessman, right? He understands that Wemby is the new international star. He can go play there. He can get even more fans, playing with Wemby, and then he can put himself in position to be the reason that Wemby won his first championship. So I still think that for some reason that when he makes this announcement, whether it's a TV show or however he does it, that I think he might announce the Spurs. I just feel like we haven't heard nothing about the Spurs, and that's just where I'm at with it.
They were on the whiteboard. It just said Spurs. It was like, yeah, it's like it could have just said Wemby. All right, you heard it there from Al Harrington. Enjoy Vegas, buddy. We appreciate you. On the other side, we're getting on the record on who will take home the Golden Boot in the World Cup as Dax McCarty comes out and join us. That guy could do it. Kylian Mbappe and France looking to continue their title hopes. France taking on Morocco. The quarterfinals are tomorrow, 4 Eastern on Fox.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at Accenture.com/Spotify.
Erling Haaland and Norway looking to advance over England, counting down the days. That's Saturday, 5 Eastern on Fox. Now, yesterday, Lionel Messi and Argentina came back from a 2-0 deficit to score 3 goals after the 75th minute. Messi scoring the equalizer, which not only helped lift them to complete the comeback, but also, it's like the game within the game, gave him the lead in what has been a golden boot race. You get it. Messi, Mbappe, Haaland, Harry Kane. And the guys, Bellingham and all those guys, in a normal year, 4 goals, they'd be great. They'd be on this graphic.
Great World Cups.
I mean, honestly, Dax, which of these...
Look at those 5 handsome devils right there.
Which one doesn't belong?
Well,
which of these is unlike the other?
I'm picking the guy in the purple tie to win the Golden Boot. I think you're gonna score 10.
I'll just tell you this right now that my wife's gonna screenshot that and crop me out so that she can have Erling Haaland over here. She is completely smitten. It's really upsetting.
He is a Viking, so I don't blame her one bit. As far as who is my pick to win the Golden Boot, listen, any one of those 4 guys can win it. I am going with Kylian Mbappe. I have to respect my bracket here. I have France going all the way, winning the tournament, and I think Kylian Mbappe, I think his resume and his history in the World Cup speaks for itself. He's the all-time leader in knockout round goals with 11. He's 27 years old. He's only played in 3 World Cups.
It's ridiculous.
He steps up in the biggest moments every single time. And I do believe France is going to play the maximum amount of games at this tournament, which gives him the maximum amount of chances to score goals. Now, he also plays with 2 world-class attacking players, and some people might think, all right, well, that's going to take away from his chances. I actually think that increases his chances. I think that Dembele, Olise, they occupy so much of the mental space of the opponent that it also opens up space for him. And now, if they focus too much on Mbappe, they know they're going to get punished by one of the other 2. And so, look, both ways at this World Cup have been successful. When you have really good teammates, Mbappe proves he can still score. When you're Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, or Lionel Messi, and your teammates aren't really scoring a ton of goals, they've still proven, even though they're the focal point of backlines, they can score goals. So another aspect of this that I really love about Mbappe is that he actually has more assists than anybody else on that list, which is kind of shocking. I expected Lionel Messi to be, again, a bigger playmaker from an assist perspective.
He just set the World Cup record.
He just set the World Cup record. So guess what? He's the all-time goal-scoring leader. He's the all-time assist leader. He's the greatest player of all time.
It's pretty good.
I just think that Mbappe is going to pip it at the end of this tournament.
Okay, so I tend to agree with you because I haven't loved how Argentina has looked.
They haven't looked great.
And I feel like they could lose kind of in a moment's notice, but it feels like it's impossible for Messi to play a game without scoring a goal.
He is unstoppable. And he's missed 2 penalties.
Right, I was just going to say, so he could have 10 easily. Mbappe, now listen, he gets shut out in this next game, then he plays Spain. all of a sudden
tough.
you could lose to Spain and you could easily.
I think he has the tougher road.
He definitely has the tougher road. So it's not a shoo-in. He would be the first ever multiple-time Golden Boot winner, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then so we're with you on Mbappe. So I'm going to pivot the question slightly just of like an appreciation for this Golden Boot race.
Yeah.
This is not normal. No. I've made this point a couple of times, but I don't watch soccer 24/7, 365, but I watch all of the World Cups. Players with 7 or more goals in this World Cup. It's Messi, Mbappe, and Haaland. The previous 12 World Cups combined, there were 3 guys with 7 or more goals.
Incredible.
So that is not just because the tournament expanded.
Sure.
That's not at all yet because there is an extra game. Because we haven't played the extra game yet, right? That will come in at the end. And then a reminder that Messi has had a World Cup with 0 goals. It is also not a guarantee. Not that your stars would score this many goals. Not that your Golden Boot leaders would score this many goals. But Ronaldo had a World Cup with 1. Ronaldinho had a World Cup with 0. Ronaldo had one with 1. Kane had one with 2.
Yeah.
It is not at all a guarantee that star players will perform in this way. So the fact that they are not only performing, but all of them are performing, and they are all on a record-setting goal pace is just it's an absurdity.
Of course, and that's I think the beauty of what we are seeing at this tournament is that we're seeing both. We're getting the best of both worlds. We're seeing unbelievable Cinderella stories that, for the most part, those are all done now.
Yeah.
But what the smaller teams were able to do, what some of the African teams were able to do, that is a great story in and of itself. That's heroic type stuff. What we saw out of Cape Verde, nobody could have expected. Now, you could have expected all the best players in the world to be the best players in the world, but to your point, at the same tournament is absolutely unprecedented. We are being treated to, in my opinion, and I am biased, the greatest World Cup of all time up to this moment.
Yeah, well, it's just, if this was your first World Cup, you would think, well, if
this is normal.
This is normal. And if Mbappe doesn't score, France can't advance. And it's like, no, that's not how it works at all. It's totally normal for a star player to win a game and not score a goal. But not in this World Cup. In this World Cup, it's like, oh no, if we won, our star also had a brace, or Messi had a hat trick, or something absolutely insane happened. All right, Dex, great stuff. Bat signal went out. Yeah, Caleb Williams is being disrespected.
QB1.
So I got some business
I'm getting kicked off.
And the countdown clock is on for Spain taking on Belgium in LA. That's coming up Friday, 3 Eastern on Fox.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online, and a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business, you'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
The quarterfinals are under a day away. Countdown clock is on. France taking on Morocco in Boston tomorrow, 4 Eastern on Fox. So you all know that I love Caleb Williams, and CBS Sports put together their top 25 players age 25 and under. Basically, you can't be a first-year player, and you got to be 25 years or under before the season started to be eligible for the list. And I got to be honest, the producers were like, Danny's going to be so upset. And I'm okay. I'm going to remain calm. Bijan, Puka, Penei Sewell, Drake May, JSN, and Will Anderson ahead of Caleb. All great players. Will Anderson, maybe the second best pass rusher in the NFL. Penei Sewell, maybe the best tackle in the NFL. Bijan Robinson, JSN, Puka, all have arguments that they are the best at their position in the league. Drake May, in Caleb's draft class, he's accomplished more than Caleb. So I personally don't think being number 7 is disrespectful to Caleb. However, if any team that had JSN or Puka or Drake May or Will Anderson called the Bears and said, we'll offer you our under 25-year-old star for Caleb Williams, the Bears would laugh and hang up the phone. Now with Will Anderson, they'd be like, I'm kind of surprised he's available. And with Drake May, they'd be like, I'm kind of surprised he's available. The other guys, they wouldn't even have the conversation. But if those guys are the best in the NFL at their position, like Bijan is at running back or JSN is at wide receiver, that guy right there, Caleb Williams, can be the best player in the NFL, period. And you do not give up on that ceiling. So if it was a draft of under 25 players, again, yeah, I'm a little biased, but I would be selecting Caleb Williams with the first overall pick in that draft. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the OT. We're back tomorrow. We'll see you then.